welcome to Evening Reflection. We are reviewing The Purpose-Driven Life by Pastor Rick Warren. We are on day 20, part 2 of this very, very interesting book. Enjoy.
Whenever I judge another believer, 4 things instantly happen. I lose fellowship with God, I expose my own pride and insecurity, I set myself up to be judged by God, and I harm the fellowship of the church. A critical spirit is a costly vice. The Bible calls Satan the accuser of our brothers. It's the devil's job to blame, complain, and criticize members of God's family. Anytime we do the same, we're being duped into doing Satan's work for him. Remember, other Christians, no matter how much you disagree with them, are not the real enemy. Any time we spend comparing or criticizing other believers is time that should have been spent building the unity of our fellowship. The Bible says, let's agree to use all our energy in getting along with each other. Help others with encouraging words, don't drag them down by finding fault. Refuse to listen to gossip. Gossip is passing on information when you are neither part of the problem nor part of the solution. You know spreading gossip is wrong, but you should not listen to it, either. If you want to protect your church, listening to gossip is like accepting stolen property, and it makes you just as guilty of the crime. When someone begins to gossip to you, have the courage to say, please stop, I don't need to know this. Have you talked directly to that person? People who gossip to you will also gossip about you. They cannot be trusted. If you listen to gossip, God says you are a troublemaker. Troublemakers listen to troublemakers. These are the ones who split churches, thinking only of themselves. It is sad that in God's flock, the greatest wounds usually come from other sheep, not wolves. Paul warned about cannibal Christians who devour one another and destroy the fellowship. The Bible says these kind of troublemakers should be avoided. A gossip reveals secrets, therefore do not associate with a babbler. The fastest way to end a church or small group conflict is to lovingly confront those who are gossiping and insist they stop it. Solomon pointed out, fire goes out for lack of fuel, and tensions disappear when gossip stops. Practice God's method for conflict resolution. In addition to the principles mentioned in the last chapter, Jesus gave the church a simple 3-step process. If a fellow believer hurts you, go and tell him, work it out between the two of you. If he listens, you've made a friend. If he won't listen, take 1 or 2 others along so that the presence of witnesses will keep things honest, and try again. If he still won't listen, tell the church. During conflict, it is tempting to complain to a third party rather than courageously speak the truth in love to the person you're upset with. This makes the matter worse. Instead, you should go directly to the person involved. Private confrontation is always the first step, and you should take it as soon as possible. If you're unable to work things out between the two of you, the next step is to take 1 or 2 witnesses to help confirm the problem and reconcile the relationship. What should you do if the person is still stuck in stubbornness? Jesus says to take it to the church. If the person still refuses to listen after that, you should treat that person like an unbeliever. Support your pastor and leaders. There are no perfect leaders, but God gives leaders the responsibility and the authority to maintain the unity of the church. During interpersonal conflicts, that is a thankless job. Pastors often have the unpleasant task of serving as mediator between hurt, conflicting, or immature members. They're also given the impossible task of trying to make everyone happy, which even Jesus could not do. We protect the fellowship when we honor those who serve us by leading. The Bible is clear about how we are to relate to those who serve us. Be responsive to your pastoral leaders. Listen to their counsel. They are alert to the condition of your lives and work under the strict supervision of God. Contribute to the joy of their leadership, not its drudgery. Why would you want to make things harder for them? Pastors will one day stand before God and give an account of how well they watched over you. They keep watch over you as men who must give an account, but you are accountable, too. You will give an account to God of how well you followed your leaders. The Bible gives pastors very specific instructions on how to deal with divisive people in the fellowship. They are to avoid arguing, gently teach the opposition while praying they'll change. Warn those who are argumentative, plead for harmony and unity, rebuke those who are disrespectful of leadership, and remove divisive people from the church if they ignore 2 warnings. We protect the fellowship when we honor those who serve us by leading. Pastors and elders need our prayers, encouragement, appreciation, and love. We are commanded Honor those leaders who work so hard for you, who have been given the responsibility of urging and guiding you along in your obedience. Overwhelm them with appreciation and love. I challenge you to accept your responsibility to protect and promote the unity of your church. Put your full effort into it, and God will be pleased. It will not always be easy. Sometimes you will have to do what's best for the body, not yourself, showing preference to others. That's one reason God puts us in a church family, to learn unselfishness. In community we learn to say we instead of I, and or instead of mine. God says, don't think only of your own good. Think of other Christians and what is best for them. God blesses churches that are unified. At Saddleback Church, every member signs a covenant that includes a promise to protect the unity of our fellowship. As a result, the church has never had a conflict that split the fellowship. Just as important, because it is a loving, unified fellowship, a lot of people want to be a part of it. In the past 7 years, the church has baptized over 9,100 new believers. When God has a bunch of baby believers He wants to deliver, He looks for the warmest incubator church He can find. What are you doing personally to make your church family more warm and loving? There are many people in your community who are looking for love and a place to belong. The truth is, everyone needs and wants to be loved, and when people find a church where members genuinely love and care for each other, you would have to lock the doors to keep them away.
We've come to the end of another evening reflection. Thank you so much for joining us. Looking forward to seeing you tomorrow.